Still feeling numb months later. I 26M got cheated by my ex of 6 years 24F September 2021, officially cut off contact Dec 2021. I'm still feeling numb, empty, heartache, depressed on and off this whole year of 2022. We lived together for 3 years, traveled a lot, had good money saved for our age, good family ties, shared a very close bond, etc. 2021 began as a difficult year for me. Close uncle suddenly passed. First passing I've dealt with from a close relative. I quit my 9 to 5 to pursue my own business. It was a very rocky start. I decided to take a break from everything and we go on a 4-week road trip in August 2021. 2 weeks after we come back I catch her sleeping at another dude's house. One night I randomly tell her I'm going to stay at my grandparents' house. They don't live far, but for some reason I didn't want to be there that night. I take her laptop, used it for work and head out. Next day she says she wants the day to herself. No problem. Well, one day turned into 4 days. I knew something was very off since it was unusual to be apart that long. She replies less through text calls. I had to show up the second she got off work because she kept trying to avoid me. She tells me she's not satisfied, happy with how our relationship's going, no prior mentions of disappointment, arguments, nothing. All this catches me off guard. Later that night I look at her Google Maps and it's connected to her phone, which shares all locations you go to and timestamps. I notice she's slept over 2 days in this house 30 minutes across town. We live down the street of where her job is, 3 minutes walking distance. I drove over there at midnight and see her car at the house from the map. My heart sunk to my ass. I knew in my head this was bad. I didn't sleep at all. I knew she had work at 7 a.m. that morning. I show back up at that house at 6 a.m., see her and a guy walk out of the house. I pull up to her car, blocking it. I walk up to her and ask if she's cheating on me. She replies yes. I immediately drive to our place, start packing all my things. We slept together 10 days before I caught her in another man's house. Her mother and 2 12-year-old sisters are at our place. Wasn't uncommon. In early morning I expose her in front of her family, told them I caught her cheating in another guy's house. They're completely shocked and in disbelief. I move out that same day. Turns out it's her co-worker. She lies saying he's gay, etc., lies to her family about everything and emotionally abuses me for 2 more months. I'm so heartbroken over this person betraying me that I can't let go until it became very toxic. The more I tried to help the situation, the more broken I felt, the worse she treated me. Her family ends up accepting this new guy with open arms and I get blocked on everything. I don't want this person back at all. The trauma of the betrayal and emotional abuse is hard to get past. I've been numbing myself with substances since Feb 2022, I feel like this stagnant living where I don't feel any better. I still work out, socialize with friends, family, but feel extremely lonely, low until use opioids, weed. Interesting detail I wanted to share. The day after I caught her cheating, while she was denying it, I asked, you swear on your grandpa's life you didn't cheat on me? She looked me in the eyes and said I didn't cheat. Her grandfather ends up passing away 3 months later. I've gotten only 2 texts from odd number last month saying I miss you, etc. After checking her online profile I know I shouldn't have. She's still with the dude she cheated on me with. I know I made a lot of mistakes in this situation. Redditor's reactions, story 2 after. Redditor 1, she swore that she hadn't cheated when she'd already admitted that she had and was caught sleeping over. Peculiar. Put down the drugs and alcohol. You won't get past the pain until you feel it. You gotta walk through it. Redditor follow-up, As bad as it sucks, this is the right advice. You gotta feel your feelings to get through over them. Maybe a little WD to chill out at night to help you sleep is okay, but opiates heavy and long term will cause more major issues. Good luck to you. Redditor 2, I'm living something similar, even her parents was shocked since they loved me as one of the family. The first month or though, and it's okay to take therapy medicine. One day the nostalgia will become anger and you'll feel better with her non being around anymore. I'm waiting for the anger to become indifference. Redditor 3, I am so sorry you went through that. I think it's weird of her to text you I miss you when still with the other dude, but don't give in to any conversation as she may just want you at arm's length backup in case her and co-worker don't work out. I know you won't go back to her, but it wouldn't even be worth having her think she even has a chance. Also WD is okay, opioids are just, well, not so okay. It can lead to worse issues, but I'm sure you're awake the dangers it comes with. Her family, obviously, will always have her back. Most families will always choose family over partners, even if their family did wrong things. That's usually how it goes, as sucky as it is. Overall, I hope you feel better. I know hurtful things done to us can hurt for months to years, but I hope healing comes soon to you. Here if you ever wanna talk. Story 2, my wife's insane behavior and how it changed us. Hello all, never once did I think I would get to this point, to the point of reaching out to strangers on the internet for guidance, but here we are. My wife and I have been together for 10 years but married for 8, we met in college and were each other's firsts and only. I honestly thought we had a unique and beautiful relationship, because of that, but it appears that was just me. Some time ago my wife began working at new company. At first she found it difficult to fit in because she's always been reserved, but after encouragement from me she made friends with a group of girls, some of whom were single, divorced or dating but non-married. At first I was happy she made friends, but then she started going out for drinks, partying or something other thing her friends had planned. I became concerned by her change in behavior and tried to talk to her about it, but at the same time didn't want to restrict her in any way. It started to affect our relationship in the bedroom. My wife wasn't one to initiate intimacy, but with her continued going out she was either too tired or wasn't in the mood. At some point her company got a new manager whom my wife and her friends had taken a shining to. She began mentioning him in passing, but it got a point where pointing how he handled certain problems that didn't seem to be work-related. I questioned her on her fascination with this man and she brushed off my concerns. She even started asking if I regretted not having more experience with women, to which I said no, because she is all I ever needed. I swore I thought for a moment I saw a flash of sadness in her eyes, but she quickly changed the subject. She started mentioning open marriages as a way to spice up our marriage. I was taken back because my wife was never this kind of person and not that liberal-timely, to be honest. I at first refused and questioned if this had anything to do with the new manager, to which she denied but said she felt like missed out, but at the same time didn't want to lose me, so this was a safer option. I warned her that she was playing with fire, then reluctantly and naively agreed. So we set some rules, mainly not to sleep with another person in our home. So for a year and my wife goes on dates, has one-night stands, then as if I didn't see it coming somehow, is in some kind of relationship with that manager. I on the other hand, had a few dates but no one-night stands because freaky it felt wrong to me. My wife would ask if I was fine but really wouldn't change her behavior. At some point I felt the love I had for her, that pure special innocence of marriage, was gone and it was killing me inside. I ended going on a date with an amazing woman who migrated over from South Korea. Conversation was effortless. She had wit of a lightning fast white crack and a smile that had one forget himself. This of course led to more dates until we were intimate. I honestly never had time like I had with this woman. I never knew a woman could be so giving and make one feel so desirable. At first my wife thought it was cute, but as the months went by she began questioning my relationship with my lover. I promptly pointed out that this was her idea, and even she was in a relationship with the manager I was concerned about. She was silent, looked she wanted to say something but held her tongue. She began coming home early to surprise me with dinner and get the house extra clean. She so started coming to my workplace to drop off lunch and began to initiate intimacy in the bedroom. Honestly, if it wasn't for her opening up our marriage, which I am also to blame for agreeing, all this would have had me jumping for joy. I barely gave in to her attempts at intimacy, and when I did it was simply to get it over with. Something in me towards my wife died, and I could see she felt it too. I asked what brought on this change in her, what was different. The response I got was that she wants to show me that she loves me and is happy with me. I never intended to, but I burst out laughing. I asked about her little group of friends, her manager lover or her one-night stands. She didn't respond that day and simply went to bed in tears. The next day I get home to find her waiting for me. She told me she wants to close the marriage, that this whole experience was a horrible mistake, that regrets everything and wants us to be the focus of our relationship again. I told her to be honest with me and tell me what inspired all this in the first place, and wouldn't you know it, it was her group of friends that planted the idea because of their numerous estimule exploits, and when her manager came around he surprisingly supported that lifestyle and encouraged my wife to live free. Apparently it developed into an emotional affair but only got physical once the marriage opened. While like that makes it better. She described it as being drunk behind the wheel of a speeding car. It was thrilling and intoxicating, but the price of this decision has become too much for her to bear. She sees now that she never needed a comparison, that what we had was truly unique and special, but now she feels like she murdered our marriage and any chance of a life together. I told her I might not to ever be able to see her as my wife again, and this made her break down in front of me. I simply held her in silence as she cried until she fell asleep in my arms on the couch. She has since left her job and cut off contact with all her friends and her manager, and even told me she's willing to spend the rest of her life making it up to me and work her fingers to the bone to be seen as a wife by me, but I haven't cut contact with my lover. My lover quite frankly makes me feel like a man, like I can challenge the world, and my wife hasn't in a while. Truth is, I don't know what to do in this situation. I would love to get the special feeling back if possible, but my lover basically saved me when I was at my lowest. Please help me. Forgot to add, we have our first marriage counseling session in a couple of hours, not sure how that will go. Redditors reactions, story 3 after. Redditor 1, well, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Honestly, people have great lives and somehow they feel like they don't, and in the process of trying to fix what's not broken eventually break it. Redditor follow-up, honestly, she should go to HR and report the manager. The power imbalance in this situation, manager encouraging his underlings to explore their sexuality, throws the whole thing into question. I bet the company doesn't know this guy is keeping a harem going in the office. Redditor 2, be with the person who makes you feel complete, not with the person who broke you just to make themselves happy. She chose to do these things and did them without caring what it would do to you or the relationship. She was happy that you went on dates but didn't fully take advantage like she did. But when she saw that you succeeded and hers were more faulty, I would say you should reconcile, but since your life for her is completely dead and you already checked out, then you should just cut her off and don't give her any false hope. But when you do it, make sure you list out everything that got you here. Make sure that in her next relationship she doesn't make the same mistake, and anything you have on your chest you get it off. Good luck, my dude. Redditor follow-up, This needs to be higher up. Think long and hard about which woman you want to be with, the one that tore you and your marriage apart or the one that heals you. Story 3, some movies are triggers to betrayed partners, like Unfaithful. Ever watch a movie or show that just sets you off? I had one in particular. If you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. I had been divorced from an unfaithful wife. I was out with an ex-girlfriend who had been unfaithful, too, but we remained friends. Her mother was with us, so it wasn't a date. Both of them really liked Richard Gere and wanted to watch his newest movie at the time, Unfaithful. In case if you're wondering, it involves infidelity. Gere's character is a successful happily married father to Diane Lane's character. She gets hung up on the humdrum life as usual and meets a younger guy that gets her all worked up. Then she starts an affair. There's guilty moments, but she doesn't stop. The husband finds out. He confronted the affair partner at the AP's home. The husband saw a special snow globe he gave his wife at the AP's place. He is in shock. The AP said some snarky comment, and the husband bashed him in the head with the snow globe. Not gonna lie, I cracked a small smirk when that happened. AP is now deceased. The husband panicked, rolled him up in a rug and tossed him in a landfill. The AP's girlfriend reported AP's disappearance to police. Husband came clean to his wife about him knowing about the affair and what happened when he confronted the AP. Cops came asking about the AP to the wayward wife, but the betrayed husband covered for her. He wants to come clean to police, but she wants to ignore it and work through their marriage. It ends with them driving down the road. Police sirens. The police car just keeps going past them. Credits roll. My reaction to the movie: this movie was definitely not like Pretty Woman. When that wife started the affair, I was getting uncomfortable. When the wife was physically cheating, I was white-knuckling the seat armrests. I had developed a cold, dead stare at the movie screen. Then, my ex-GF noticed me in distress when the cup holder cracked from my death grip. She tried to get my hand free of the armrest, but it wasn't moving. She took her hand, and slowly turned my head and softly said my name with tears in her eyes. I looked at her and turned back to the screen. She managed to get her arm around mine and lean against me, and I could hear her quietly sniffling, holding back tears. She asked if I needed us to go, and I just quietly said no. So she just held on to me through the rest of the movie. As we were walking out of the theater, she stopped me and wrapped herself around me and cried. She apologized for hurting me so much and for how my ex-wife had done me, too. No lie, a few tears did escape my eyes. She saw them, and wiped them away. She said that she knows she didn't deserve my friendship or forgiveness, but that I'd always be her best friend. She and I had previously realized that we had some kind of permanent connection, but simply were not meant to be together as a couple. The current situation, that was almost 2 decades ago, and yes, my ex-GF and I are still good friends with very defined boundaries. I have been happily remarried to a faithful woman for 15 years. I was my ex-GF's best man and witness on her marriage license at her last wedding. Her husband used to call me to find out how to deal with her crazy LOL. I cannot watch the movie Unfaithful at all. Update: dealing with the love but not in love rut in a relationship marriage. Ever get that dreaded, I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore talk? It happens. Years can go by in a relationship. Career, kids, taking care of elderly parents, complacency, and sometimes the monotony of the same repetitious behavior in person every day can take focus off the relationship. People still grow and shape their personalities through the years and will most likely not be exactly the same person a decade or so later. Some people wake up one day and wonder who that person sleeping next to them with bad morning breath and who stole the covers in the middle of the night is. Then comes the "I love you, but not in love with you" confrontation. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. That love in love thing happens more often than you realize. Sometimes one partner never even mentions it and works it out on their own, but not always. The key that I am offering you is to lean on your love and foundation of friendship to get you to the point of working together to regain that in-love emotional connection. Communication is still the major key. You have to speak up and not rely on hints or unspoken expectations for your partner to realize you're in distress. Be patient with each other. My following advice is only useful if both want to save the relationship, otherwise it is a waste of your time. Give each other grace when they breach difficult subjects such as intimacy, time not spent together, or unhealthy friendships outside of the marriage relationship. If you lean on that foundation of friendship, you should be able to right the ship to fall back in love with your partner. But, it will take both of you 100% apiece invested in putting in the effort. If one of you has completely jumped overboard and refuses the life preserver or jumps into someone else's boat, you do have to understand your own limitations and not let them pull you under. Never stop dating your spouse. Update, triggered by an episode of Star Trek Next Generation from ex-wife's infidelity from over 20 years ago. You don't have to be a Trekkie to relate. Don't you hate when you experience a flashback of pain by something like a television show? Just something from your past that just sneaks right up on you, and you don't realize it until you feel the emotional scars start to burn. That happened to me when I happened to see an episode of Star Trek. Sheesh. It was the first time I saw this particular episode from the Next Generation series. My first wife had just recently been busted for cheating on me and left me for one of our mutual friends when our daughter was 2 years old. I kept primary custody because she was too busy playing with her new man to be a mother. My self-confidence was gone, dignity deleted, emasculated, and felt worthless, but loved my child. My daughter was playing in the living room floor with Legos and her dolls as I was watching television. Then this Star Trek episode came on called The Offspring. I'll summarize. Data, an android on the starship, created another android and referred to her as his daughter, Lal. Data could not feel emotions. By the end of the episode, Starfleet was demanding to take Lal away and she experienced emotions, something Data could not do. It led to her computer brain to cascade failure, and Data tried to save his daughter but couldn't. Lal told Data, "I love you, Father," and Data said he could not feel emotion. She said she'd love for both of them before she died. Shortly after, crew members were talking about what happened and about Data not being able to feel emotion, but the heartstrings get pulled hard when you know that Data's choice to name Lal was Hindi for beloved. Don't know why, but by the time Lal died, I was crying uncontrollably, but quietly. Then my precious little 2-year-old girl dropped her toys, and climbed into my lap and told me it would okay, and she loved me. I felt like my life had fallen into itself, and then this innocent little girl just squeezed it all back together with one little hug, and I for a moment forgot all the pain I had over losing my first wife to another man and my plans I thought I had for our future. Our children are so precious. Episode came on again recently and watched it with my current awesome wife and she cried too. And again when I told her about why it affects me like it does other than a daddy-daughter story. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, I binged Star Trek multiple times. Once when I was preparing my wedding, again when my baby was born, and again after my husband's most recent affair. All super emotional times. Certain episodes definitely make me remember those times hardcore. Being a parent in general makes those kind of scenes, like with Lal, take a whole new depth of meaning. But then, my 3-year-old gets excited and hums along to the intro every time she hears it, and I love that. Bringing me a whole new memory to think about next time I been a. She was humming that song, or rather dunning to it, before she could talk. Intro was actually one her earliest words, behind mom and dad and the dog's name, and yep, she meant TNG theme. Anyway, I can 100% relate. While my wounds aren't quite that long ago yet, I imagine I'll still remember all those things a long time from now when I watch it. Redditor 2, as I was reading I recalled that upon Lal's passing, Data transferred Lal's memories and experiences into his own brain, ensuring a part of her would live on. Redditor 3, I bawled at the offspring because I experienced something that you will never experience, the loss of your own child. Even before my own tragedy. I lost my son on the New Year Eve at the same time I was arrested. I missed my son's funeral because my ex put me in jail and then she lied to my family about my whereabouts. I found out 1 week later after my parent had to broke into a prison to tell me the saddest news I could ever heard while I was in jail. Ain't nothing I can do about it. I will never forgive her, anyone whom involved, the pigs, the judges, the ducking law ever again. They owed me the big one and they better pay the price before I find them.